Post-match pint, we're in the Phoenix. It's a little bit chaotic. We've got a singer behind us. There might be Neil Docking. I've got Phil Blundell. I've got Grace Bailey. I was going to do this in parts anyway, so you don't need to worry too much about that. First question, did you cry?
Yeah, but I cried pre-match, not post-match.
So when he was...
So I cried at the start when they did You'll Never Walk Alone. I just was like gone because I was like, it's the last time he's going to sit there and hear this, and that to me was just massive. I was like, I actually can't believe I'm crying this early. But I was full sobbing at that point, and I was like, oh, where am I going to go from here? And then at the end when they did the Guard of Honour and everyone was walking out, and then he came out at the end, and I was just like, oh, Jürgen, don't go.
Did you ever cry?
I'd gone before they'd even gone off the pitch after full time, you know.
Had you gone?
Yeah. That was my tipping point. I like the son I've just saved from Ben Jono about him, like, and it said, so like, he's that good a communicator, you don't feel sad about it, do you? In a weird way. Like, when you're listening to him talk after, you weren't like, oh, I feel on the bottom of the world. You actually feel you bounced out that ground and like, wow, that was incredible, because it was incredible ultimately, wasn't it?
I was very moved during the big chorus of his song.
Yeah.
That's when you got upset there. You said
that's
when I was enormously moved then. But in part because the way he's been anyway, and in the way he was, Phil, I just felt it was. I've got to do the writing about it, and I've put at the start of the writing. I didn't write anything down before. I've been thinking about it. I've been talking. I've been doing show after show. I did a live show last night, so some of that's going to be in it. But I was like, I'm not going to write anything before because anything could happen. I was thinking of the week, but no, what will happen? It's just going to be a bit of a run-of-the-mill game against Wolves, and then yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But then, no, because he's Jürgen Klopp, he turns up with his own agenda, and it is different, and that's what he does. He's turned up with his own agenda. He's made it different, and he has said, you need to bounce out of this ground right now. You need to bounce back into it in August because this doesn't stop, and that's what he's been all about there. And he couldn't have been any more crystal clear, and he had jokes. I think I felt it was quite funny. Peter McDowell asked him a question at the start, and he basically didn't answer the question, and Peter McDowell may as well have gone home. Like, legitimately, may have just got off. May as well just got off and said, oh, all right, sir, you've got this one. And he went off for 10 minutes, about 10, 15 minutes, wasn't it? And every word was brilliant. It was funny. It was just nice, wasn't it? Like, it was nice. I think the stuff about the new manager was really important in terms of, like, singing his name was genuinely funny. That was really funny.
That, you know,
it was really funny.
And I actually think a lot of the fans thought they were just chanting Jürgen Klopp. He was chanting his own
so
name.
my mates were on the comment said they couldn't hear a word he was saying and thought that's what was happening. So there are some people who were of that mindset. But where I was, you could hear it crystal clear, and it was funny, and it was a real sort of. He sort of mentioned this isn't the end; it's only the start, didn't he? And it's sort of only he could leave and say that and make you think, fucking hell, get in, I'm
also
flying
the way
here.
he was like, keep believing, and like, you've got to put your trust in a new manager, like you put your trust in these players. When he come in, he's brand new, none of us really knew anything about him. No, well, that's the thing, isn't it? And it's like, the fact that he even sang Garnishlot's name, it's like, wow, like what an impact he's had as a manager. But not only that, but like what an impact he's going to have on these players going forward, because they're going to think, well, Jürgen's a fan now, he's watching us, so even though he's not here, like, he still made a massive impact, and he still will continue to. I'm going to cry now.
Get those sunglasses down, Grace. Get them down. Go on.
He's no, that's really untied here. He's not here, but he's here.
Yeah.
That's the way this works. The way it always works, the way football works, full stop. It works like that when people you love who go to the game pass away. It works like that when people move away, but you think of them. Again, when I write, I always try to write in my head. I'm writing to one or two people who aren't able to attend the game that day for whatever reason. I want to say, this is what it was like. People aren't here, but they're here.
Yeah.
And that's the trick, and that's what he said. He's gone, I won't always be here, but I'm here. Neil Docking's arrived. Neil Docking's always here as well. He won't always be here, but he's here.
Hey, we can send him the bar though, can't we?
There is something, Grace, where that's what it's been about. That's what he's trying to say. It's us now, and we're all here together.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what, like, that's so important, the togetherness and everything about him. And by the way, he's definitely read your emails, because his programme notes were very like how you would write a programme note. Like, that was how Neil writes. I was like, oh, he's copied Neil in his writing. But you know what, like, that togetherness and just everything about him. And it was so important that he spoke today. I was a bit worried about the PA system, that it might not hold up and we wouldn't hear it. And you know what, also, how special was it that we saw all those mini trophies that they presented to him, because I was right behind that, and I was like, that is a really lovely
He actually looked really happy, like he looked made up with that. I don't think we sit that far away, because I sort of, it was right in front of me, and I see him and his face was like, oh wow, it looked like he was made up with it, because they're the kind of things he can actually put somewhere on a mantelpiece,
exactly.
can't he? Whereas you can't put 6 of the big fuckers on your mantelpiece with your fire, can you?
But he's got 6 miniatures that he can just keep forever. So that was a lovely little gesture. I really like that.
Excellent. Just out of interest, man of the match?
I mean, I can't say I was watching much of the game at all. I would say Ender. I thought he put in a great performance, to be fair, and he's broken up. He's one of our players. I'm
trying to think. I can't even remember who played.
Quanta was really good.
I'm not asking you yet. You can have a think about it. We're going to sub Neil in a second. Go on.
Every time Quanta kicked a ball and put a block in, he was brilliant, and he's been marvellous this season.
So have you.
They're my parting words. Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely summer.
There you go. Excellent stuff.
Substitution for the
Have
Anfield Wrap.
Have a good summer. Grace Bailey, have a good summer.
Replacing Grace Bailey.
Have a good summer, she says.
Mr. Neil, sees the players off docking.
It is. It's a hot Grace summer.
Oh, where the players' families docking.
Did you hang on for the players?
Yeah, hung on at the end. Most people got off. Craig Annan said we had to. And he was in an emotional state. I've had to look after him this afternoon. So more tears shed today than when Conor Bradley scored at Anfield. I was holding him up at one point.
What happened when the players came out then? Was it good?
Well, it was a bit subdued, really. They sort
no
of...
shit,
left. Everyone had gone off. Yeah, no, it was a bit odd. Obviously, the Golden Sambas were presented. So Harvey Elliott got his for Young Player of the Year, I think, and McAllister it was.
Okay.
Got the main one.
Well,
so
I mean, as long as the Sambas happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing.
And you are now Samba correspondent.
Yeah, I do like first with the Samba news. So yeah, that was important. And Pep Linders came over and gave us a nice wave, which was nice. There was a lot of goals scored by small children, you know, the usual stuff.
Oh, no, that bit.
Did you see Thiago's son playing footy, by the way? I want to know if he's still good. I think he might be a professional footballer, you know.
Yeah, it looks like he's got better fitness record than his dad. But no, it was nice, but I have to say, it would have been nice if an announcement had gone around the stadium sort of saying, hold on, fellas, because everybody had got off.
Well, not you.
Well, not me. No, I'm there to the bitter end. Well, you know, some people are stickers. Some people stick at things, don't they? Don't give up, never give in.
Yeah, that sort of thing, yeah.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. Some of the people are grafters who want to crack on with the work and go from there. But it's no blame culture, don't worry at all. And Grace stepped in and did a fantastic job.
I'm sure.
We've been reflecting on there with Grace just as you got there. He always turns up with his own agenda. That's one of the things that's brilliant about him. Certainly when he's been thinking about it. He always lives in the moment as well. And, you know, I got the impression there, if he'd have been overwhelmed with emotion and sadness, then he might well have said some quite different things. But he obviously just felt so full of light about it all.
Yeah.
And I think he really feels as though he's done the right thing. And I just think it's remarkable the way in which he speaks. But he's set things up now, and it's all about what happens next.
Yeah, he really drove home, you know, the values that he believes in. And that he's always stressed time and time again over the years. You know, so many people in their moment, their speech, would go down a different line, take a different approach. But he wanted to talk about what we'd achieved together, what we could still achieve, the belief that he'd installed, the way of thinking, his way of seeing the world that I think we've all got on board with. And the fact that that must carry on. I mean, who else is going to start singing the incoming manager's name in their farewell speech? It's absurd. I can't think of another manager who would do that apart from Jurgen. And when he talks about the fact that people tell me I turned you into, you know, from doubters into believers, and he wasn't having any of that. And he said it's an active thing, believing.
Spot on.
I said you have to do it, and you did it.
Yeah.
And that's the message for me. That's something I think he's installed in all of us. I just thought it was just a measure of the man, really, the way he spoke. It didn't surprise me in one way that he took that approach. And he's not sad. And I've been thinking about this a lot, about being sad about today. I've seen a lot of fellow Reds saying they were dreading it and how upset they were going to be. And I totally understand that, because it's a seismic change and he's meant so much to so many of us. But I didn't see it as sadness. I saw it always from a couple of weeks ago, where I think I just changed my thinking at the Tottenham game. I just saw it as a celebration. And that's what Jurgen was getting across. This is a celebration. And my thinking on it is, I was so sad when Roy Evans left the club. I was so sad when Gerard Houllier left the club. I was devastated when Rafa left. I was so sad when King Kenny left the second time round. All those managers I remember. And it was a sense of what could have been.
Hodgson?
Yeah, what could have been. Not Roy Hodgson. But I was sad for what hadn't happened. I was sad for what could have been. I was sad for the dream that had died. But with Jurgen, I don't feel that sadness. I feel like it's just a celebration, because he gave us everything I dreamed of and more. It's not a time to be sad. Celebrate, not commiserate. That is what Jurgen's all about, and that's how I felt since I got up this morning. And Jurgen just basically stood up there and said, that is it. That's what I'm about. And for me, he's so special.
When we came in here, there was a lad who grabbed you and went, smile that it happened, and it's about right, isn't it? It's also like I think there's a line he said at the start, and he went, everything is spot on. It's not. He knows it's not just him that's got. He's been obviously pivotal in everything that's happened, but he's also been pivotal in putting everything together. That means that this isn't just reliant on him, and you take him away, and that's it. It's gone. Like, I think it's the thing I've liked most about the last 9 years. It's that he's almost been allowed to build a structure that wasn't about what he was doing now. It was obviously for what he was doing now, but it would be for the absolute long term. And everything just feels like he can put things in place. Like he talked about the stadium, which has got two stands different.
When we were singing the song at the end, so I sort of looked around the whole ground, and one of the things actually hit me was this
what did it look like when
it looks different. It literally looks different.
There's 33% more people in here than when he took over. 33%. Like, there's genuinely 15,000 people more in that ground than there were on his first game.
Everything's different.
The training ground.
We're in a position now where we started taking European football for granted again.
Exactly.
Because that was not a guarantee before he arrived.
When he came in, what was it, 12, 13, 11, 12 and 13, 14, no Europe.
Yeah.
No Europe. And Liverpool, pretty much every year I can remember since about pretty much since I can remember, we're in Europe, bar one when it was the joint manager palaver. That was the only season that I don't think we had Europe. Everything else, it was a thing, and then you get 2 out of 3 seasons waiting on him, and it's a bit like, it's good that Europe, isn't it? And now we're in it, it's like, oh yeah, we're in Europe again.
And the stadium's transformed, the training ground is transformed, the entire way of thinking from the bottom of the club to the top is transformed. There used to be so much disharmony between the academy and the first team. There's endless stories about it, wasn't there? Especially during Benitez's era. And now it just feels like everybody's singing from the same hymn sheet, and that's his greatest achievement.
I think it's interesting when he said, he could be, I think was it Werner or was it Henry who said he could be the CEO of any company he wanted? And you've seen that, haven't you, in terms of, it's a bit cliche saying, more than a manager. But it is. You wouldn't trust the manager. Most managers wouldn't get the trust to be allowed to do what he is, but he's allowed to do it because everything about him is so spot on. You heard him talk, like the way you heard him talk said everything. There's a weird thing on the internet where it's like, it's all about him from rival football fans. It's fucking nonsense. It's the biggest load of shite I have ever heard in my life. The biggest example of that is when he starts singing the other fella's name. It's all about him, it's all about him. Oh, by the way, I'm just going to sing the name of some fella I've probably never met, who's having my job, having my office, having me fucking house.
Yeah, put in one phone call with him. Yeah. We'll be in the office, and as you say, we'll be in the house too.
Yeah, everything about it is like, there's a depreciating level rather, of it being like, I know what I am, and I know what I'm like not, almost, if that makes sense. Like, his tone and his ability to say the right thing at the right time in the right situation.
It's unique.
It's unbelievable. I've never come across anyone quite like him in that respect. There's, you can probably say, they can do that better than him, or they can do that better than him. But that style of how he does it, I've never seen a football manager. Never.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I did get emotional towards the end when he started talking about how he's one of us now. When he said right at the end, he was like, "I love you to bits," which I thought was such a great expression. It's expression he's obviously learned here. I just thought, I love you to bits. I love you to bits, Jürgen. And I'm glad you feel the same way.
It's good of you, yes. We reciprocate this. That's the way in which it works. I'm writing a book about him, which will be out in September. It's called Transformer Klopp, The Revolution of a Club and a Culture. I want you to buy it. I want to be really clear about this. I want you to buy it because I want a number one. So we're just going to be really frank with one another.
Neil and Tolkien.
I want a number one. So to a hardback number one, you've got to sell about 8,500 copies, as long as like a Royal or a cookbook doesn't come out that week. Pricks. So We need to do about 8,500. That's the aim. Maybe a few more. That'd be brilliant. Worldwide, obviously great, but UK specific. But if you're around the world, buy it as well. But I want a number 1 in the UK. So you might have to put the cover up. Sam might have to put the cover up there. We're starting to talk about it now. We're not messing about. We're not pulling our punches here. I like it. You know, recently when like bands have been saying around here, Red Rum Club have done it. Like, can you do us a favour and buy this because we want to be as high in the charts?
Yeah,
as
absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So I want to be genuinely. I hope you like it, but it's not a matter of life and death to me. To be honest with you, I think it's good because I'm writing it and I'm writing it like it's me. But you know, ultimately, if you don't like it but you still buy it, I'm made up because we want the number 1 and we want it all together. We're all in it together. That's the way in which it's going to work. It is called Transformer. Klopp, the revolution of a club and a culture. I think this might be the most unorthodox book launch anyone's ever done in there as well. And if it could come over, you know, I don't want to do it right now, but across the shows that I'm going to do when I mention this, there's going to be increasing tones of threat as well to ensure that
if you don't buy it, you won't know if you like it.
Well, yeah, and you can slag it off to me face if you want, but you've got to have bought it first. That's the way in which it works. The game itself, it'd be nice if they just made it 3-0.
It really would, wouldn't it?
I like
it seems to be finding new ways not to make it 3-0 in the second half.
I couldn't work out whether or not Jose Sarr just decided, fuck you, or whether or not we weren't finishing very well, and maybe it was a combination of the two in there. Salah should score a goal. I mean, he should just score a goal. I enjoyed, did you both get on to Van Dijk's general irritation by virtue of the fact that he kept going forward? He was obviously desperate to net Van Dijk, and then they wouldn't put the cross into the back post, and he'd just stay there like to make a point.
And he ended up hitting one himself, didn't he, at one point where he said, come on now. Like, I mean, the Diaz one where he rattles the woodwork after Gakpo does the right thing.
Gakpo does brilliantly.
I think Gakpo was really good again today, especially at times in the second half. I really enjoy watching him at the moment. I thought, as you said, Mo should have scored once or twice, just picking the wrong option. Was it Szoboszlai who plays Mo in at the end when probably Darwin was the right choice? And that feels like a strange sentence, but I think he was.
The wrong ball, 100%.
I wish Trent had shot in the first half, where the goal opened up for him. The keeper was miles out, and he played Salah in instead. And I think really Trent could have put it away.
There's a couple of times where they're just a bit too intricate for me.
Yeah.
And I found that all recently. They get themselves into really good positions in the final third. It's like in a really low-key way. Elliott back heels it to Salah when Salah's offside. Salah's worked it back to him, and he could just drive into the box. If you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying have a shot there and then.
Sometimes there's a bit of deferring to Mo still. I think you see certainly from Harvey. I understand that.
But I just think in general, there's one more ball played when you don't need to play one more ball at times.
Yeah, no, I did see that. On the subject of Elliott, though, more and more when I'm watching him, I'm seeing that he gives us something that we've not really had since Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was in his pomp, which feels like a long time ago now, where he is picking the ball up centrally, able to dictate, but also to drop a shoulder, drive forward and beat someone and open things up. And then also when he's the same as Oxlade-Chamberlain, the ability of a bit of pace to break down a flank and then put in a great cross. I'm so excited for what the future holds from him, certainly perhaps as a number 10. You know, the way things could open up for him as a footballer, because I think he does give us something different, something that not many midfielders in our squad have about them. Maybe McAllister to an extent in terms of the range of passing, but not that ability to drive forward with a ball at his feet. So I was really impressed by him again today. I just wanted to give him a shout.
To be honest, I remember very little about the game, thinking about it. He got caught up in the end, and I thought it was just a very end of season game, wasn't it?
It was. It was a red
card.
card.
Nothing really happened. It was a red card. I mean, I'm not surprised he went into VAR if they're getting away with tackles like that, to be perfectly honest. Because it was a
stinker.
bad one.
It's a bad one.
It's a bad one.
He's lucky not to hit
high,
him.
it's late. It is a genuine leg-breaking challenge when you watch it back, and you could tell with also the speed. It was a quick one as well, wasn't it? In terms of an overturn, you don't often see them going to the screen quite that quickly, taking quite so little time over it, and then coming on. Like, he was off before McAllister was even up, I think, which is.
They were up for it, Wolves. I mean, too much in that case. but over the course of the game, I thought they were up for it. I thought they acquitted themselves well in the second half. And it's not the first time where if Alisson doesn't make a couple of smart saves, then it could have been a very different game. I was really impressed with the centre-forward, whose name I'm probably going to butcher. Cunha.
Yes, I have my eye on him.
Yeah, he's a proper player.
We had a conversation about him about 2 years ago when he was still at Hertha Berlin, wasn't he? And we were talking about him.
Madrid. He's a real footballer, that kid. I like him a great deal. Anyway, all right, that'll do. It's been post-match Pint. I hope you have enjoyed it. You had Grace at the start, so thank you very much to Grace. You had Neil Docking, Phil Blundell, I've been Neil Atkinson all the way through. We had Grace at the start, and we had Grace from the manager. He really is the best of us.